Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org with a video tutorial for the new Boston. In this video we're going to be taking a look at creating an email validation field which you could go ahead and implement into a form on your website if you require it. The way it works is we click in here and we have this message saying go ahead, type a valid email address. So when we go ahead and start to actually type a valid email address, we have this feedback here, which is just a span area. Just feed us back some information about what we're typing inside this field. So at the moment it says that's not quite a valid email address. If I then go on and continue to type, you'll also see that something like Alex at PHP Academy would be regarded as a valid email address. For example, it could be something like local host here. This is just the way that PHP validates email addresses with the filter var function. However, you could then go and adapt it to check for a TLD at the end. Although .org then still a valid email address. So we're concentrating on the jQuery side of this. We are going to be using PHP to build the backend that's actually going to validate this form. We're not actually using jQuery to validate it. So we're using PHP essentially to validate and then feed back the response from the text that's been typed in here by the user back to the user. So whichever way you choose to validate, you can apply this to a variety of other different fields as well in a form. Obviously you wouldn't go ahead and just copy and paste the code that we're about to write, but you could find a way to pick up on each of the fields and validate them separately. Maybe create a global type for a field, for example text, and then supply it with a specific amount of data. However, for the purpose of this example application, we're looking at filtering an email address and feeding back information to the user. Okay, so let's go ahead and start to build our basic form. We also need to include ajax.js, which is the file that's going to handle all of our jQuery. Then we're going to go ahead and a bit later on create a PHP file, which is going to be the file that processes all this information. Let's just take a look at our directory structure. We've got this folder called JS where this Ajax file is located, this one here, and obviously jQuery as well. We've already included jQuery into our page. However, we need to go ahead and include this ajax.js file that I have open in my text editor, and that's the jQuery that's going to handle the events and everything inside of our page, as well as handling the Ajax post request. So that's that. We're going to go on later and create a file inside our PHP folder, which is going to handle the requests sent by our ajax.js file. So step one is to go ahead and include this Ajax file into our page. So I'm going to go ahead and create some script tags. Type is text/JavaScript, and the source is js/ajax.js. So now that's included, we can start to create some jQuery code, or write some jQuery code inside this ajax.js file, and that's going to handle the form we're just about to create, or the field that we're just about to create. So I'm going to create a little label here just saying email, and then I'm going to go ahead and create an input field. Okay, so the input field type is going to be text. We're just asking for the user to type text in. We're also then going to give this an ID, and that's just going to be email. Now, just one point I'd like to make, I am using HTML5, and you can actually give the type email. So you can now specify email from HTML5. They've created a validation here. However, what's happening is you're validating on the front end, and at the time of recording this video, HTML5 is a touchy subject when it comes to browser support. Let's just open our browser and take a look at this example. If I was to go ahead and type Alex at PHP, and if I was to submit this form, let's just go ahead and create a submit button. Okay, so if I was to go ahead and submit this form with just say Alex in here, we have this, or we should do anyway, it's because we're not using a form. Let's just, there we are. Okay, so when I click submit, you see this little div or whatever it would be pops up just saying please enter an email address. So HTML5 is now validating on the front end. Now the downfall to this that I've already explained is that HTML5 is not entirely compatible at the time of recording this video. So depending on when you're watching it, HTML5 is one of them things that is not compatible with some browsers in some areas. The other reason is that back-end validation is generally more reliable and can be tailored with regards to exactly what you want to look for. If you were to do everything in JavaScript, if you were to do all the email validation in JavaScript, users would be able to get around this. So we need to validate in the back end somehow. So that's just a quick explanation as to why this example is in place. We're going to keep this as type text just so the user can type some text in. And if you are choosing not to use HTML5, then this method will be, useful to you. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's just refresh. We've already seen this somewhat. Now, the first thing that we need to do is when the user clicks into here, so when it becomes in focus, we need to display some